Dangerous territory because we're starting the story of Joseph, and I could go on forever and ever and ever, but I will try very hard not to make you sit through 3 hours of video. So we start out, of course, with Jacob, and you know this story so well, and we'll talk about it in class. We're not going to go into detail, but Jacob loves Joseph more than the others, and this causes all sorts of problems, and so eventually he sends Joseph to look for his older brothers who are tending the flocks, and he is sold. And you will never guess what? There is a map for that. Ha ha! I've made this map because I knew you really wanted it. So they start out in Hebron, and this is just to give you an idea. I mean, this is a long, long ways. He starts out, he goes past Salem and past Bethel and up into Shechem, and that's where he thought his brothers would be, and the place that they'd kind of held and contained or controlled there in Shechem. But he learns his brothers have moved on, following the flocks and their nomadic lifestyle, so he goes all the way on to Dothan. This is probably more than 70 miles that he's traveling on his own looking for his brothers. He gets up there, that's where he's thrown into a pit. I knew you would want to see a picture of me as a young man being thrown by my roommates into a pit in about this area, so that you can understand how they would feel the same way. In any case, he's thrown into a pit, and then he's sold to this group, a caravan coming to sell goods in Egypt, and off they go on their way. And of course, as we want to get into Egypt, there's a map for that. So here they would come along this trade route, and almost certainly, and we'll talk more about this in class, but almost certainly Joseph ends up in Avaris, and that's where he's going to spend his time there. We're not going to get into the story of Judah and Tamar. We'll talk about that in class, I'm sure. People always have questions about it. There's some important things to be learned there. He ends up as a prisoner working for Potiphar, and we all know that story, and how he goes to prison, and we'll talk about that in class. Just quickly, prisons are typically not just like a jail the way we think of it, but you go on hard labor, like working in mines and things like that. Eventually, he interprets the dream for Pharaoh. Let's see here. It seems like there was something I wanted to show you from the book for that. Oh, yeah, I just thought I'd show you some pictures of the Nile, and these are water buffaloes, or gamus in Arabic, that are out grazing along there. And here's a typical picture of an Egyptian bringing a Semitic slave, bound right here and held over so he can't get away, and tied to other Semitic slaves. You can see the rope going along there, bringing them to be sold or presented to someone. So this could very well be a depiction of someone like Joseph. In any case, he interprets the dreams and ends up being rewarded with a gold necklace, and this is a gold necklace being given to someone as a reward in Egypt, so it was probably something very similar to that. Now again, we're not going to go through the whole story, you know it very well, but there was one other thing I thought would be worth showing you, and that is a picture of some granaries. These are from later, as are the other pictures from Egypt that I've been showing you, but this is from a later time period, but it probably gives you a decent idea. You can see these three granaries, these dome-shaped things that have kind of fallen apart. These are actually at the Ramesseum. That's the temple for the funerary temple for Ramses the Great. So it's a while later, but not too much. And here you have these nice granaries that are probably similar to what Joseph had built. So just some maps and some graphics to help the story come to life for you. Does it feel alive now?